Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholes. Today we have another story from Carolyn Sherwin Bailey. Both of our remaining original stories come from Miss Bailey. And this story, I love this. As somebody who loves animals, and I live in a home where we love our pets and all of our animals very, very much. I love this story of the Christmas tree in the barn. Billy and Betty had the wonderful plan about having a Christmas tree in the barn. They were spending the winter with Father and Mother on Uncle William's big farm, and they loved every one of the barn creatures very much indeed. There were the hens, who gave them such fine fresh eggs, and Shep the dog, who kept the lambs safe on the hill in the summertime. There was Bessie, Uncle William's horse, who took them for picnic rides and to church. There was Peter the barn cat, who kept the mice away from the vegetables and grain that's stored in the barn. "They're all so kind to us. They ought to have a Christmas, Billy," Betty said. "We will go right out in the woods and cut them a Christmas tree," Billy said. They found a little spruce tree that was so small they could cut it easily, and they dragged it to the barn on their sled. Uncle William gave them a green wooden pail that they filled with sand to hold the animal's Christmas tree, and they stood it in the middle of the barn floor. It was such fun trimming it. Betty picked bright red berries in the woods and fastened them with pins to the ends of the branches, and Billy made some scarlet wreaths to hang on them. He strung cranberries on some fine wire and fastened it in a circle to make these wreaths. Then they cut snowflakes from white paper and fastened them to the twigs just as if they had fallen there from the sky. But hanging the animals' Christmas presents on the tree was the most fun of all. Betty cut some little Christmas stockings from tarlatan, seamed them with red worsted, and filled them with yellow corn for the hens. She tied lumps of sugar with red ribbon and hung apples on, too, for Bessie. Shep had 2 juicy marrow bones tied with big red bows, but neither Billy nor Betty could decide what Peter the barn cat would like for a Christmas present. There did not seem to be anything that Peter really needed, for he had 2 collars and 3 balls and all the milk he could drink. They had not decided what to give Peter on Christmas morning, and it seemed too bad, for when Billy and Betty went out to the barn each creature seemed to be enjoying the tree very much. The hens were clucking, Bessie was neighing, and Shep was walking round and round the tree, smelling of his bones. And there sat Peter, right under the tree, looking up into its green branches. "Poor Peter," Betty said, "with no Christmas present." But just then Peter jumped right up into the Christmas tree in the barn and came down with a little gray mouse in his mouth. The mouse had been nibbling the corn in the Christmas stockings, but Peter thought it was his Christmas gift. So the tree was quite perfect, and all the barn enjoyed it very much indeed. And that is the story of the Christmas tree in the barn. And I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a sweet little tale of 2 children and their love for the animals in the barn, and they're making a Christmas for them. And it's one of the things that really I enjoy so much about this season, is because for so many people, it's just an opportunity to give. And right now on this Christmas that is going to be very different for many of us, it's a good thing to remember. This is Dan Scholes for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen. If you'd like to help support the podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/folktaleproject. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As always, thank you so much for listening.